Okay, so what we got next? So Linda McMahon, the wife of Vince McMahon, who is the CEO of World Wrestling Entertainment, the WWE, which has been deemed an essential business in the state of Florida because Linda McMahon has raised tons and tons of money for Trump's businesses, not businesses, but confidants. So Linda McMahon's involvement in, see how you get close to Medusa, what happens? Linda McMahon's involvement in raising money for the Super PAC, $18.5 million for the Super PAC, is now becoming under scrutiny. That maybe this is what I'm saying. This was not in the article. That maybe there's some sort of bribery or quid pro quo. Like, here, I'll give you some of this campaign money if my husband or former husband, I don't know, people say they might be divorced. I don't know. It doesn't matter. If this business can be deemed essential and we can keep it up and running. Why you want to keep it up and running when you just fired half your wrestlers anyway, I don't know, but that's your own business. But it's coming under scrutiny. So what are we looking at here? She was his small business guy. What do you call it? The head of the Small Business Association, or whatever we call it. And how she was the leader of that World Wrestling Entertainment. No, is not a corp. Well, it's a corporation, but they don't have a bunch of little offshoot businesses. But you cannot call a billion-dollar company a small business. But, that's neither here nor there. Actually, it is, but moving on. Two of Swords and King of Pentacle. And right in the beginning. So the Two of Swords and the King of Pentacle. There is an indecision on what to do. And then here's the people of resource. So it's like, the WWE was not deemed an essential business to begin with, simply because it's not. Therefore, there was no real indication they were moving towards making it essential. There was no meetings about, hey, what about WWE? And what about, EC3 and all these kind of... There's no... And that's actually the name of a wrestler. Anyway, there's nothing that says that they were moving towards making this essential. This came literally out of nowhere, sort of. And then the devil approaches. The devil says, hey, people are starved for content. First of all, no, they're not. They got Hulu, Netflix, YouTube, Amazon Prime. You got, hell, you still have cable stations that ain't like the cable turned off because of coronavirus. You got everything in the world you could possibly watch. Not to mention, if you have no TV, you still have the radio. Like, you still have entertainment. So the WWE, which does not air every day, I think it might air 4 days a week. Like, there's the Raw, SmackDown, Main Event, and NXT, I believe is the name of their shows. And that's like 4 days a week. Like, this is not some 5-day-a-week type show. This is not even... It is technically the longest episodic television show in history. Monday Night Raw. Technically. But we don't need it. This is not essential. So here comes the devil, making sure this Two of Swords, this indecision, this stalemate gets broken. Like, yes, this is great that you are trying to get things under control, but hey, here is some money and some corruption for you. So then there's the Seven of Cups and the Nine of Cups. Yeah, the Seven of Cups is confusion. This is like, where do we go? What do we do with that Two of Swords energy? And then here you got the Nine of Cups saying, hey, lean a little bit our way. These are your wishes and desires here. Then there's the Judgment and the Hermit. So this is a closed door meeting, and then, you reached a decision. So all around this Two of Swords is new decision, simply because what's crowning it or what's crossing it all is that Devil. So this is not a legitimate, hey, people are starved for content, let me put on some wrestling that people are increasingly not watching because it sucks. Then there's the Moon and the fear, because that's the unknown. And then there's the Four Swords and the hopes that you rest upon this decision to make us essential. There's the Four of Cups and Three of Cups, the My Dark Alliance card. With that Three of Cups and then the Four of Cups saying here is the offer, even if it's a reluctant one. But it's sort of, it reminds me kind of catnipish, to where they couldn't resist it if they tried. The Devil is not inherently evil. And here's why I say that. Because if the devil, let's say I don't believe in the devil personally, but let's take me out of this, right? The devil was an angel, Lucifer, who got some of his homeboys together in heaven and said, hey, let's go overthrow God, because that sounds like a great decision on a Saturday night. So here they go. They walking down the golden streets. Stepped up to God sitting on the throne, who was literally like a ball of fire, right? And said, okay, your time's over, buddy. Get out of my chair. And God wakes up from his nap, even though he never sleeps. He just catnaps. And says, excuse you? And they said, get out of my seat. Your time's over. And God takes his finger and his thumb and he thumps them out of heaven. Because that's all it takes. It's God, for God's sakes. And so Lucifer comes crashing down to the earth. Lucifer was the most beautiful of the angels. He was covered in diamonds and jewels and gold and silver. And that's why all of the gold and silver here on earth, that's where it comes from. And so he crashed down to earth first before he went to hell. He crashed down to earth and all of his jewelry fell off. And then Beelzebub and all the people who were with him who thought this was a good idea, they were all sort of wandering around, and then they got chained up, and then so forth and so forth. But the old adage of measure twice and cut once is the devil's backstory. Measure twice and cut once means if you're going to create something, make sure it is the way you want it before you make it. So if I'm going to make this table, I'm going to make sure it fits in this space. I'm going to make sure all of the parts that I need for it fit. I'm going to make sure everything is everything before I cut anything. Right? So if you're going to create the devil, or Lucifer, and you are all knowing, then he's going to act a plumb fool at some point. Because you know this, because you created it and you're all knowing. There is no way you didn't know this. So what I'm saying inherently is that he's not evil. He's playing his part. All he can do is suggest. Your intention still has to be to take the grease, to take the money, to take the temptation. He's doing what he was created to do. Just like Judas is not inherently a traitor. If he didn't do what he did and turn Jesus in, then Jesus wouldn't have been sacrificed and your sins wouldn't have been covered. So it's like you have to take another look at these type of situations and say, is he inherently evil, or was this what he was created to do? So all of that said, back to this, these people that are in this little circle of corruption DeSantis and McMahon and Trump and CPAC and all this type of stuff are not really inherently evil. They couldn't have resisted this if they wanted to. Because they do not rule based upon the needs of constituents. They rule based upon the needs of themselves. They were always these type of people because it's inherent to them. So, why is it important? Because we don't really always need readings to see if there's some crazy corruption going. Of course there is. But it's fun. Like, come on. Do we need another reading to say, did Donald Trump really steal money? Of course he did. Like, if the tooth fairy comes to your child's house and the money's not there, Donald Trump took it. Okay? I just want you to know. I know it may not even sound possible, but trust me. I read cards. I'm a psychic. I know these things. But there is the Page of Swords, which is why the moon, the word of warning and the fear usually match up, and they do here. The moon and the Page of Swords, you don't want your business coming out, but it's going to, because there is the Five of Swords defeat around the business. The WWE will have to stop performing or shut its doors, because it's not open to the public. Whatever you want to call it, they're going to have to stop, period. There will be some stoppage with the WWE. It may not be long, but it will be there. But, as Melania says, I don't really care, do you?